Hi everyone, good morning to all. So today what I am going to explain is a GraphQL. So in recent times I have seen a lot of posts regarding the GraphQL. So let me take it as a video. So I have decided let me check how what is GraphQL and we can make it as a video format. So what I understand in the GraphQL. So GraphQL is like which is main purpose is to query the information from Salesforce instead of going to the server side using a Apex to retrieving the query of an object information. We can do that in a client side itself. So that's possible through GraphQL. So we are having wire adapters as well as a functions for GraphQL. So the main purpose of a GraphQL is to query the informations using the client side itself without calling the Apex class. So here we are. This is a first thing which I need to confirm is this is in beta version. It's not in live. So you can try that. So we are having a few methods called GraphQL, refresh GraphQL, pagination, and children and parent relationships. Those are the certain functions which are available now. So first, we can see a few of the GraphQL. What do you mean by GraphQL, and what is the syntax and how it works basically? So for now, I'll explain the GraphQL and refresh GraphQL functionality because I have explored those two alone. In upcoming sessions, I'll explain about the paginations and parent-child relationships in GraphQL. So as we mentioned, it's like a similar to LDS, Lightning Data Services. Without going for Apex, we are in the client side itself. We are querying the informations. It's similar to wire adapters. We are having a specific syntax for GraphQL. We are importing the GraphQL from a Lightning GraphQL API. So how this is the format which we need to set it up for querying the informations. So in this format we need to set it up. So basically it's like we need to mention what is the object and what are the fields which we need to display, and whether if we are going to filter out from that object we need to mention the where clause as well, where name like account, which we do in a normal SOQL. So this is a syntax of a normal GraphQL. So what are the parameters? So basically there are a few parameters required. So query is the important parameter. So while starting off the GraphQL itself, you can see. So wire GraphQL, comma, inside the parameters, what you are doing is you are going to pass a query. So in that query, you are mentioning a GQL. In this GQL, we are having a dynamic query. And another one thing is variables. Here in this syntax, we are not having that variables. The below examples, they will show on a variable which is a getter function. So an operation name. So the name of the operation you want to perform in the query. So by labeling that operation name, it will be easy for a GraphQL to navigate that specific function. So coming to the return, so I am querying the information, so I'm going to get some response. Those response will be like a previous, like whenever we are having a wire, we will get data and error. But here's there is a slight difference. So what we get is a data, but in case of error, it will be errors. It's not a error. So here you can see there is a S added in the errors. So usage. So there are whenever there is a feature, there might be some usage. Without usage, there's no point of that feature itself. So coming to the usage, here we are having a certain examples they have provided. So I have tried these examples in my org. So it's like the first example is like I'm querying the accounts. I'm getting the first 10 accounts. So the filter is like first 10 accounts. In that accounts I am getting I'm displaying the name value. So the syntax, the operation name is account with name. So in that I'm querying for these are same for all. So account object first 10, in that I am displaying id, name, and a value. In that name I am displaying the value. So now I want to display the results in the UI, in the LWC HTML side. So for that I'm storing that in a separate results variable. So this is how you need to assign the value from the GraphQL. So the object name needs to be placed. Rest all it will be similar for all the queries. So I have replicated the same example in my org. This is how it looks like when you replicate it. So it will fetch the accounts and it will display the informations. It will display the name, value. So you can try this example. Coming to the second one. So in order to make it reactive, like if I change a value, it needs to change the informations which it has been shown. So like in a normal LWC, we are having a reactive variables, the same functionality. Here we are trying to display. So basically this example, what we are doing is like based on the amount selection, we are displaying the records. We are querying the account records based on the selection of amounts, and we are displaying those. So here the same GraphQL. Here we are having an operation name as big accounts, and here we are having a variable. So this variable is of type currency. So this is nothing but a type. Which data type is it's a currency type which they mentioned. So rest all like account, in that account where the annual revenue is greater than or equal to this amount. So and in that I am displaying the name, value as well as annual revenue display value. So coming to the variables. So as we already seen in the parameters, we are having a query as one of the required as well as variables, which is a key value pair. So here we are having a reactive variable. So this reactive variable should have a getter function. So in this getter variable, we are setting up the amount. So based on the amount selection, it will set it up, and after that, based on that variable value, it will change in the query. So that's how it works. So this example, I have made few modifications in my org, and I'll show that after this. Here we are having two combo box, one combo box where I will select the amount. Based on that selection of amount, the records will display. This is how the GraphQL has been done for this example. So as we already know, if we have feature, there will be certain limitations in the feature. So the limitations here are it won't support for experience cloud sites, and it won't be support for objects or fields that are being used in namespace packages or installed any managed packages. And using variables in derivative set as skip or to include won't be supported. So these are the limitations for GraphQL. Coming to the refresh GraphQL. So as we know already, a normal refresh in a LWC, how it works, same here it goes. So it will update the data which has been fetched from the GraphQL imperatively. So this is the syntax. So this is how it looks. So this GraphQL enables you to control you want to query to rerun. So either you can call from JavaScript or through a LWC button, you can call this a refresh method. So all those things, even the refresh or in the GraphQL, everything happens in the client side. There's no need of going to the server side itself. So coming to the example. So this is the example which I have included along with the refresh. So as we mentioned, so I'll show the component. So here I made it as a less than or equal instead of in the example the greater than or equal. So along with that I have tried to display the industry. So what do you mean by this display value? There are three parameters which they mentioned. If you go to the documentation, so value, display value, and format. What is format fields? So what is the format of the field? So value, display value. So both are the things which we can display for a field. So for this we are displaying a value, for this we are displaying the display value. So you can try with a format how it works. So I have included the refresh functionality here, the results which I have stored in a GraphQL data variable, and I have refreshed the entire result. So I'll show you an example. So now I am having this amount. If I reduce the amount, it will be like only one record. Since 50,000 is less than this value, it show. If I go for all, so no value. So if we go for 5 lakhs, it will be this, and if you go for this, it will be like okay, two or these values are less than or equal. If I enter, so if I click go for here, I'm having 4 accounts. In that, if I enter 60,000, okay, I have saved it. So coming to the screen, I don't see the value. If I click on refresh, the value start popping up. If I reduce, it will show this. Go here, it will show this. If I remove this value, click on save. If I try to refresh, that has been removed. So even there are a lot of other features. So since I am also a new learner in this GraphQL, so I have started exploring little by little. So you can start exploring this, and I'll share my article regarding the Salesforce article links. You can go through this and you can try out, and you can start exploring these features which might helpful in your development. And don't forget to subscribe our channel. Thanks.